Good morning and welcome to Mental Health Matters Office Hours with me, Dr Audrey Tang. I'm very excited about today's show because, as you know, we cover all things workplace wellbeing. And today, Judith and I are speaking with Pritti Saggi. She is the founder of a charity called Creating Memories. And this is a beautiful charity. They work with families who have undergone or are undergoing life-changing experiences, and they create memories through wishes for the family itself. And we were even privileged enough to take part in one of those. Let's have a look. Pritti, welcome to Mental Health Matters Office Hours. It's great to see you again.
And you guys, I feel like part of the family here.
I
love it here.
You really are. And it's so great that we've even had the chance to collaborate with your work, which is just, we couldn't help just speaking about it afterwards, just going, this was so nice. It was such a great thing to be part of. It does make you feel good,
yeah.
Whether that's selfish or not.
No, but that is the whole point of it. And, bearing in mind, this all happened through a conversation.
Yeah.
I wasn't even looking for that at that point when you offered to say, me and my husband, my friend can dress up as Frozen characters and we'll come and sing along. And I thought, it's really random, but great. And I thought, I'll let you know when I get a wish like that, because I don't know what wishes are coming in. So for me, it's like I can't preempt or pre-organise or go, okay, we've got this in the bank, we've got that. It's just whatever comes. But like I say to people know people.
Yes.
And, it's that whole 6 degrees separation. And within 6 people, you should be able to get to where you want or to find what you're looking for. So I'm always grateful and thankful just to have conversation about what I do, what the charity is about. And if people connect, they'll just naturally go, well, do you know what, I could do this or I do that. And sometimes it's people think too hard going, how can I help you? And, I know people instantly think, yes, it's all about money. But it isn't. Some of it is products and services. And saying, okay, you can't give that. But what about gifting us this? Because this could make a huge difference that I'm going to have to go source somewhere else. So it was amazing to have you guys there. And, she absolutely loved it in the pool.
And so lovely.
So did the family. And it was just so uplifting to see. And I say to people, where you can be involved, join us, be part of it, see the wish unfold. Because that feeling you get from seeing that, I can't recreate. And I can't explain, if that makes sense.
No, that's exactly it. And that kind
feeling.
that brings me to, how did you come to creating memories?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where you get to a point in life where you go, what is more important? And it comes with age, I think. For me, it came because my life totally changed. I mean, I was married and my marriage was ending, so I was getting divorced. And that, being Asian, is quite a big thing. And I didn't have children at that point either. So for me, I was also turning 40, not in a year. So it was quite a big change for me, a big deal. But it also gave me the opportunity to reevaluate my life and go, what is more important now? The job I was doing, to be fair, I did enjoy, but there was a lot of negativity around it because I was a customer feedback officer. So I was daily dealing with complaints for the local authority. And I looked at it as a way to help people, which I did. And I made a huge difference, helped a lot of people, got policy changed. But it was constantly battling with people in the council every day. And I felt like going, God, imagine if I wasn't here. What would these people do? What voice would they have? And I just thought, but do I want to keep doing this? But it was also because I'd lost 2 people close to me. And I think that really shaped going forward, because both 2 people I lost were terminally ill. And one of them was very sudden. She didn't even know she was terminally ill. And, I'd seen her at work. She was someone who helped me at work. And she'd only just turned 60. She wasn't even that old. And she looked quite pale. And I kept thinking, you don't look very well. But, you don't say those things. And she'd taken time off sick. And the next thing I remember was receiving a message on Messenger, because that's how we kept in contact. And she said, I've been diagnosed with kidney failure. I haven't got long to live. And I was like, no, that this can't be real. And it was just so sudden. And my instant reaction was, what can I do to bring you joy?
Oh, wow.
And that's what I wanted to do. So I saw her daughter who worked at the council as well, and I met up with her and I said, look, I know this must be so difficult, but I really want to do something for your mum. What can I do? Can I create something? Can I take her somewhere? And I wanted to create a memory. And I was doing it so unknowingly, knowing that this would be what I would do going forward. And she just said, no, Mum doesn't want any of that. She goes, all she wants is an old-fashioned handwritten letter. And I was like, what's that going to do? I was thinking grand.
Yeah.
And I suppose this is what it's taught me, is that it's very simple things. And it's what is important to that person in that moment and time. You know, and so I then wrote her a handwritten letter, and she was so happy to receive it. She replied on Messenger to me, because that was easier than writing. And then I thought, it brings her so much joy, I'll write you a letter a day. So I did for the last few weeks she had, and every day I'd go hand deliver the letter because she didn't live far. And now, coincidentally, I live opposite the house where she, on the street opposite. I never knew that's where I'd end up. No. And, you know, her husband, when I met him at the funeral again, and he said to me, introduced me to the family, and they all hugged me and came up to me, and they were like, thank you. And I was like, for what? They were like, you kept her going. You gave her hope. And they were like, your letters were so beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, everybody read them? Because you never thought, you know, like, there was nothing private in them. We'd just talk about silly things, favourite films, favourite football. Her favourite football team was Arsenal, and I wasn't an Arsenal supporter, but I wore an Arsenal scarf because that's what she wanted people to do for her funeral. And her husband even said, he goes, every day she'd wait for your letter. She could hear it drop in the letterbox. She'd be like, go get me Pritti's letter. And he goes, she read your last letter. And I thought, wow, what an impact something so little can make. So for me, little things make a difference.
Absolutely. And that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. And I mean, you have created a wonderful charity, but people don't often think of working in the third sector as a career, because when you're young, you get people coming to school, but it's all about, can you donate to this? Can you fundraise for this? It's not about jobs. So how do you forge or create a career in the third sector?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I never thought this would be for me. And I even never thought even starting a charity would be for me. Never thought that would be somebody like me could do. I always thought you needed really high-level qualifications or add a good proven track record of working in the charity sector to set your own charity up. I didn't. Yeah, I mean, I've got a degree in HR and business law, but it's very different to what I'm doing. But to be honest, it was that leap of faith at that time. But I say to people, I mean, the charity sector, I'm sure you'll agree with me, Jude, is not where you make money. You know, you don't come into it making money. Yes, there is. You can make money out of it. But for me, it's a personal thing. It's a personal journey you take. And you come into the charity sector at that time going, I want to make a difference. You've got to your point in life where you're going, you realise money isn't the be-all and end-all. And actually you're like, I want to make a difference in the world I live and the place I live. I want to make an impact, because as you know, it's a saying in every culture, but in ours it's very much is, you come into this world with nothing. You leave with nothing. So, you know, you're not going to take all this money with you or all your belongings. So why don't we leave something that leaves an imprint? So, I mean, nowadays it has become more of a pathway. But I still don't know if it's talked about in schools as a career.
As a career option, no, not really.
And I think it should be, because if you're that way minded and you're empathetic and caring, and I think that would be an amazing pathway for people to go. Because if you connect with what you're doing, what they're doing as a charity, you'll give it your all, you'll make a difference, and you'll feel good for it, because you'll get so much more than what you're giving.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. And if somebody were to look for a job in the charity sector, how would that job be funded? Would it be through grants or donations?
Yes, see, this is the hard bit. Whereas when you work for a business, you're selling, you're buying and selling.
You've got a product, haven't you?
Yeah, you've got a product. Whereas, yes, we sort of we have a product which is a wish, but we're not making any money out of it. We're not selling that. So whereas you've got the money to fund, we don't have that. So for anyone in the charity sector, money comes through grants. It's predominantly grants, trusts, is funding and fundraising and donations. So that's where it comes from. So it's hard because as much as I am the only paid employee for my charity, so, and bearing in mind I'm the founder, so I work part-time for the charity, and that's my choice to work part-time because I burnt out doing my job as well as trying to start the charity at the same time. And that's when I realised I don't want to work this hard. I need a work-life balance for me. Work isn't just the be-all and end-all of life. So I work part-time, and that made it easier for me to get a job in my charity because we could fund someone part-time.
Yeah.
And I suppose because I take on the brunt of it, they sort of need me.
Yeah.
And also you need to remember that as a founder, I don't run the charity. So it's a really hard place to be.
Yes, because you have to work for it.
Yes.
But your vision isn't necessarily going to be there all the time
No.
because it's the trustees
Yes,
that will do it.
the trustees run the charity, and you've got to work very close with them and get in the trustees with the right skills, but also the mindset that they understand where you're coming from, why you're doing what you're doing. And also you need trustees that don't just say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Because that don't work for me. I need someone who will correct me and go, no, we're not doing that, follow this way, or you've gone too far there, or no, we agree with you, we support you. And I think that balance is so important. But you know, even my job, you know, I'm on sort of a rolling year contract, but it's, do we have the money to pay me? And some funding, when you apply, we've been accused of saving, no, what's the word? Keeping a reserve in the bank. And I'm like, they're like, you have money. And I'm like, no, that's to pay salary.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't pay me, none of this is going to get done. I mean, don't get me wrong, I work part-time and get paid part-time, but I put in a lot more than part-time.
Yes.
And that's my volunteer hours.
Yeah.
So I gift more, but I still need to get paid to be able to live.
Absolutely.
Otherwise I've got nothing.
Yeah.
But we've been accused of keeping a reserve. And I'm like, what, just so I can work for a year?
Yeah.
That's all I'm looking for. And even trying to employ staff, if we've tried to keep some money going, okay, we probably got potentially enough here to keep someone for 3 months. But who wants to job for 3 months? Somebody wants to know they're at least in a job for a year.
Yeah.
But there's no guarantee. So if we try and keep a reserve, going, okay, there's enough money in here to employ somebody now, we can grow a bit, we then get told, no, you've got too much money. And I'm like, but you're in a catch-22. It's like,
how can you grow without actually having the staff to support the oh my goodness.
And I just don't get people's mentality. And I'm like, if I had, you know, money, like if I had like 200 grand in the bank, yeah, fine. Accuse me of stockpiling. But we don't even barely have 20, 30 grand in the bank. And you're saying to me, you've got too much money. And I'm like, this is wrong.
And this is why we need to have these conversations, and this is why we're having them on office hours, because as you know, we have 2 shows. We do all things mental health and wellbeing in the evening, and we do workplace wellbeing in the morning. And this is so important because we don't talk about third sector enough. And there's a lot going on in the third sector where mental health awareness is really important, but also just in terms of things like funding, which a lot of people don't understand.
And also, when you apply for funding, like if we're looking for just unrestricted capital to be able to grow, to get people in, they don't want to give you money for that. They want to give you money for projects.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Project
They don't want to give you money for people. And I'm like, in my head, I'm going, well, who's going to do these projects?
How can the projects work without the people?
And even if you incorporate their time into the project, they're like going, no, we're not paying for that. We're paying for the project. And I'm like, the project can't happen without the person. And it's like, am I talking to a brick wall? Like, do you not understand this? It's like, I don't get it. And I'm like, would you run a business like this?
Well, this is exactly, if you've got comments on this, because this is absolutely what's happening. This is what charities are facing all the time. Do give us your comments, and we're keeping Pritti. We'll be back just after this.
A world without the arts is one without confidence, creativity and community, and yet funding has been reduced every year. Arts programmes have been shown to benefit social inclusion and well-being, particularly for marginalised groups, with projects fostering a sense of belonging, cultivating mutual understanding, and breaking down social barriers and isolation. Participation in arts programmes can help boost confidence and open doors to opportunities that may otherwise be inaccessible. Click Arts Foundation offers grants up to £2,000 for grassroots arts projects twice a year, with our community arts experienced trustees meticulously scoring each project on impact and sustainability. To date, we have supported craft and visual arts projects, dance, drumming for wellbeing, and preservation of heritage and culture. If you share our passion, not just for maintaining the arts themselves, but contributing to the many benefits it can bring, please consider making a donation to Click Arts Foundation registered charity.
Welcome back to Mental Health Matters Office Hours. We've got Pritti with us. She's the founder of Creating Memories, a wonderful charity that creates memories for families who have undergone a very life-changing situation. And so, Pritti, we're talking about working in the third sector. If somebody wants to get into it, do you recommend volunteering first? Is there a career pathway?
I would recommend volunteering first to try it, because people have a perception of what it's going to be like. And they think it's going to be this glorified job where you do all the good bits, and I'm sorry to disappoint you, it's not. There are some really good bits to it, but you don't actually know what you're doing until you start doing it. So, you know, a part of me is like, why don't you come along, try, see how you get on, if this works for you. I mean, I tend to, when I'm looking for volunteers, I have a conversation with people on a one-to-one basis, and I sit them down and I say, right, what do you want to do? Not what I'm looking for. I'm like, what do you want to do? If they've come to me and said, we want to volunteer, we want to gift a bit of time, I'm like, okay, what excites you? What brings you joy? Because if I can't tap into what brings you joy, you won't stay. If I just give you a job to do and say, these are all the list of jobs I need someone to do, here you go, do it. You'll look at me and go, thanks, but no thanks. Or you'll do it for a little while and off you go. But if you tell me what excites you and what you want to do about our charity, I'll tell you a bit about it, because you know, we here predominantly are making wishes for adults and children with life-limiting or terminal illnesses come true. And we cover Bedfordshire, Hertfordshire and Buckinghamshire. So the memories we create are there to treasure for everybody involved, for those hard days and for that time when that child or that adult leaves, unfortunately. But, you know, there are different aspects people can be involved in. So when I find out what interests them, sparks them, gives them that bit of joy, then I can say, right, okay, well, why don't we do this? And does this work for you? Why don't you try this? But the other thing I say, which is the most important, and I know it sounds like I'm putting people off by saying this sometimes, but I have to be realistic because I've been burnt so many times. And I say to people, great, you want to volunteer, great, you want to give me your time, great, you want to help, but realistically, how does this fit into your work-life balance? Because you work full-time, most people do, you've got a family, you know, you've got a life outside of work, and you've got extended family, and you want to gift me some of your time. So realistically, how many hours can you give me? If that's an hour a week, I'd rather take the hour a week than you saying to me, I can do 10.
Yes.
And then you give me nothing.
Yes.
So if you say to me, I can do an hour, I can fit it around this, you know, timings or week, just 1 hour a week, and I'll pick, I can work with that. But people come in going, no, I can do this, that, because they get so excited.
It's the hope,
It's the hope, and it's like, I want to make a difference, which I love, the enthusiasm, but then realistically it doesn't fit into their lifestyle.
No.
And then they'll start it for a bit, and then it just goes.
Yeah.
And then they feel really bad, and then they feel so disappointed because they've let us down. Yeah. And I'm like, I get where you're coming from, but if we have this frank conversation first, we can alleviate all this.
Absolutely.
But there are a lot more jobs opening up in the third sector, and some of them are really interesting. And I think if you can find the field you want to work in, there are a lot of jobs out there. But you do have to be prepared that things go a bit slower. There is still a lot of red tape. Funding is the major thing, because if there's not enough money, you could be working on a project, but that's scrapped.
Yes, yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yes, and that's such a disappointment as well, especially when you want to do something and it is for the good of mankind as opposed to making money. Yeah. I mean, this question you could probably answer in a one-word answer. Would you ever go back to corporate?
No. Hell no. Hell no.
I'll give you the 2 words.
No. Hell no. I think, bearing in mind, I have done corporate, but I have predominantly worked in local authority, local government, and there's red tape there as well. But for me, I just couldn't see myself doing that anymore, because I love what I do. It is so part of me, and it just feeds my soul that I couldn't do anything else. And I just think, do you know what? I was born to do this. This is my purpose in life, and I don't want to go back. I don't want to do a boring 9-to-5 job, or even where a job where I probably may enjoy and I'm earning lots of money, but what am I going to do with all that money when it's not feeding me? So for me, it's a no.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful.
And also, I get flexibility by choosing to work part-time.
Yes.
I have created flexibility that works for me.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're talking about well-being. I look after my well-being. So on a Wednesday, I go to yoga in the afternoon because that is important for me. And that helped me when I was burnt out. I do a daily walk, which I can fit in because I work from home predominantly. You know, so I can go for an Indian head massage. I can fit in things that help me go see my friends, have lunch, or, you know, do something else that feeds me but allows me to not get too stressed or feel the pressure of the job. And also, because of the work I do, I hold on a lot to people's energy, because when I'm part of a wish, especially when I'm there on the day, I'm holding space for the family, the child, the people involved, and you want to make sure everything runs okay, all goes well. So you're holding that whole space for everybody, and you don't quite look at yourself. And then when you finished, because the wish when you came, to be honest, I didn't finish there till about almost 4:30. So I got home about 4:30, 4:45. And then I was just like, okay, I was meant to be going out. And my friend, in a way, luckily cancelled. I just spent 2 hours at home. I had a bite to eat. I watched a film and I just grounded. Because I needed to stop and release all of this energy I had within me. Because it drained me. And then after a couple of hours, I felt okay. And I was like, okay, I can come out now. But if I don't take that time for me, it affects me mentally. Because I have to remember I'm seeing a child who is unwell.
Yeah, of course.
And seeing the way they are, how their family is, how they all connect. And, you know, you're being part of their world for a while. And I have to be able to recalculate that and bring me back into my world and go, you've done an amazing thing. Yes, that is happening in their life, but look what you've added. So, you know, you sort of come full circle. So it is really important that people take time for themselves and figure out what well-being means to them, not what everybody else thinks it should be. And you know, you get this thrown around a lot, going, oh, we're just going to do a one thing fits all, one course fits all, so everybody should be doing this. But I don't find it as easy to meditate sometimes. So actually walking in nature is my meditation. Walking around the park or along the river is mine. So find what works for you, but please take time out for you, because if you don't look after you, you can't do what you're supposed to do. In whatever capacity that is.
Excellent advice, definitely. So we've talked about a couple of issues, you know, maybe with fundraising, etc., and grants, but are there any downsides of working in the third sector? And, you know, kind of related to that, we hear that a lot of charities have closed down since the pandemic.
It has got harder. A lot of funding has become more restricted. And boundaries are put in ring-fenced, so it's not as easy to get money as it was before. And there are a lot more charities, so everyone's sort of competing a lot more. But I think there is scope for charities to work together, you know, to join forces, and I think that you would gain so much more. But for me, I think one of the biggest things is when you read about charities, and I don't know how they get away with this or why they do it in the first place, when you hear about, you know, Captain Sir Tom's charity and how they built what they did, right? That swimming pool, right? Tell me, as my trustee, I don't have access to our bank account, right? Anything we spend has to go through my trustees. My trustee who has the bank card pays for it. So how did they allow all of that to go through? And all that money. And I just think, imagine what charities like ours and other charities could have done with the money they wasted. And paying yourself that amount of a salary.
That's the thing that gets me.
It's huge. And I'm like, there's no way I could live with myself knowing I was earning. And I've always said this, my charity, this charity, as far as I can work with it, and my trustees are on the same wavelength, nobody will earn a 3, 4, 5-figure salary ever. Because for me, if you're looking for that money, go work somewhere else. Because to make a charity, you know, we're a very small charity. We've only been going 5 years as a registered charity. We've been going 7 without, and then 5 as a registered charity. And we were born in the pandemic. So 11th of May 2020 is when we started, and we couldn't even do what we were set up to do because we were in the pandemic. And we work with such vulnerable people. But it was hard in the pandemic, you know, but you found a way forward. But a lot of charities were born or struggled through that time and couldn't keep going because funding became so hard. And there is money out there, but some of us don't even know where it is. You know, people want to help. And this is where I say, I want to encourage the whole local supporting local.
Yeah.
Let's all work together, because there are people out there who have trusts and have funding pots that want to make a difference, or businesses that want to give. Why not support local and support the smaller charities? Because I don't mean this in a horrible way, but the bigger charities get a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, and they have the money to go on TV, to do all these campaigns. We don't.
Yeah.
And we're literally trying to keep going. In a way, it's, you know, we're grateful in the position we are at the moment. It's probably year on year that we look going, have we got enough money for the following year? You know? But that isn't how you want to be able to function. I want to be able to function to go, do you know, we've got money for 5 years, right? I can employ all these people, come in, help, and then we can apply for more, and we know we'll get it and we can continue.
Yeah.
That would make a lot more sense, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it be amazing? Because then we could set up a team, we could have established roots, a foundation, and things would work. Because when people say, oh, just pay for that, and I'm like, but from where? I'm like, do you not understand we're a charity? And they're like, well, if you want to get a job done properly, you've got to pay for the service. And it's like, you're happy to pay, but where do I get the money from?
Yeah.
Or can I, if funders would pay for us to have people, to pay for staff, then I could pay for someone to do social media. That's a job in itself.
Yes. Yeah.
So a part of me is like, we can get people in with the skills to help us and make life so much easier, but we can't if we don't have the money.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we streamline as much as we can. Everything's online. We don't print. We don't do lots of merchandise. So where possible, even with the wishes, like you guys helped us in kind.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I will try and appeal to people, because people are looking, and businesses are finding ways to make a difference, but they don't always know how or where to help. And sometimes we'll get the gift, or sometimes we'll get it at a discounted rate, which really helps us.
Yeah.
But if we don't get those, then we're spending a hell of a lot more to make wishes happen. But then that cuts the money we have left to pay for staff.
And which means the charity can't be self-sustainable.
No.
So, yes, well, we're keeping Pritti, and we will carry on with this discussion just after this.
Navigating today's workplace is tough.
Toxic employees, endless drama, a lack of motivation. We've all been there.
But fear not, we are here to help. My name is Leanne and I'm a chartered psychologist.
My name is Al and I'm a business owner, and together we dig into the scientific and commercial secrets behind great workplace cultures in truth, lies and work.
A no-nonsense, award-winning psychology podcast brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network. We explore practical strategies for building a great workplace.
We debunk buzzwords and bring you the very best advice around finding and keeping great people. From personality tests.
Personality tests they're mostly bollocks. I don't know what kind of language you do on your podcast. I don't know if people know this, but the man who wrote the Wonder Woman comics is the person who invented the disc.
When more flexible working became a norm, you no longer hurt your career prospects by being the one person who worked flexibly.
All the way to avoiding high turnover.
We recruit and promote people to managerial roles based on their technical skills, not their people skills. This is a very fundamental problem we have, which we haven't directly tackled.
From toxic-free cultures,
Interventions for the individual are only half the answer. Systemic change is the other half.
to sustainable growth.
Thinking beyond just paying somebody a good salary, I think is super necessary now. We have to offer so much more than that.
We have got you covered.
So join us on Tuesdays and Thursdays, where we help you to simplify the science of work and build amazing workplace cultures.
Welcome back to Mental Health Matters Office Hours. We're talking to Pritti Saggi here about her charity Creating Memories, but we're also talking about the issues that are facing the third sector and funding, and the understanding of what funding needs to be there for is one of those huge issues. But aside from that as well, you also have a very positive workplace philosophy. You've been talking about well-being and balance and so on. Do you manage to keep that balance now because of where you're working and how you're working? And if so, has that been quite easy to maintain, especially on the times where suddenly you may get all the wishes coming in at once?
I am grateful and thankful for my trustees, because having a team around you that is supportive makes such a difference. Yeah. And let's be honest, I've got to that age where I'm coming into menopause as well. So I've had to be open with my trustees and go, right, we're not quite functioning as I should. So brain is a little bit out there. I haven't quite figured out what is going on. So I need you to bear with me. Yeah. And because I get paid to work 20 hours a week. So ideally, I need routine and structure. So I figured out what works for me. So I try and work Monday to Friday, and I do 4 hours every day. And I do the mornings, right? Yeah. Because that works for me. It gives me structure. I have a reason to get up and a purpose. I work, and then I have the afternoons to do something for me. Doesn't always work like that. That is the ideal way, but a wish could come in, or I've got to attend a meeting or phone calls. So I just adjust my days according to what work I need doing. But I've also learned not to beat myself up if sometimes things have just got too much. Like, we all feel it, you know, and I know I'm on the spectrum somewhere with ADHD. So sometimes if I've gone into overwhelm, I'm not going to get anything done because my brain just can't get out of that. So I then know that if I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, take a step back, go for a walk, get some fresh air, be in nature, come back, and then go, right, now what can I do? Yeah. And that sometimes helps me. Other times I've got to write the day off and go, right, not today, tomorrow, it's a new day, what can I do? And then I just put in extra hours. Yeah. So I just move around what works for me as well as the charity. As long as I'm getting my stuff done, my trustees are really good. They're not worried about my hours in that sense. They know I give them a lot more. And sometimes I'm in the evenings working, going, oh, I've seen this, let's do this. Yeah. You know, so they're not micromanaging me. And I think that really helps because I am delivering. Yeah. They can see what I'm doing. So that I think having people who you can work with that trust you in that way and give you that support you can talk to. So I know I can ring my trustees up. So if I'm having a tough day of going, I'm really stuck, or can someone help me? I'm learning to ask for help. And get that.
Now that leads me to my next question, really. Do you think you need to have a certain type of personality? Because there is a lot, you've used the word trust a lot, and this relates to what you said earlier about how some people, they get enthusiastic, but they can't deliver. No. So is there a certain type of personality? Or?
I think you've got to you've got to have the vision, and you've got to have the drive to know what you're working on and why you're doing it. If you've got the why, I think you're halfway there. Because if you don't have that why, then and you're not fully invested in what you're doing, you can't. I don't think you can. And also because the charity sector, I mean, I'm the founder, so for me it's quite lonely at times working on my own because I haven't got a team. I have a team of trustees, but I don't actually have a team. Yeah. So I do a lot of it myself. So if you're not able to get yourself motivated and moving and working, then that won't work. But if you're working for a slightly bigger charity than mine, then there will be people around you and you will have that connection and you'll be able to work with people. But it's being very open-minded that unlike corporate, in charity sector, you could get a lot more no's on things you're doing. Things may not go to plan. And it's how you deal with it, and it's thinking on your feet. It's very last minute, things could, do you know what I mean? It's not, you can plan for everything, but it doesn't always go that way. And even where things go a bit wrong, it's like, what do you do? Because if you have invested a bit of money and time, you don't want to lose that, so you want to make the most of it. So I think it is for people who genuinely want to give back a bit, are ready in their lives to go, do you know what, this can work for me, and I want to feed my soul a bit more. I want to give myself a bit more joy and feel happy and good for what I'm doing. I would go with that. And I think you've got to be a bit of an empath as well. Because, yes, we try and run the charity as much as we can like a business, but we don't want to lose the heart of what we do. So you can't run it totally like a business. You can't be totally heartless with people. And you've got to take people's emotions into account when you talk to them. You know, you can't be ruthless as you would in corporate. You know, I think, and you have to remember people are human beings. Treat them like that, not numbers.
That's very true. And then sort of from that, some people might have all the enthusiasm and all the right, you know, state of mind and really, really want to work for a charity and then realise it's not really for them. Like maybe the cause doesn't really align with their values, or they they do actually want to work for money, so it might happen the other way around as well.
And it's also realising it can be a bit more haphazard. Like, we as charities want to get things organised and have things in place, have structure, and I try and do as much of that as possible. But if we don't have the right skill sets, then I'm juggling and meddling my way through and going, hoping for the best, and it works. But ideally, we want people with the right skill sets to come forward and say, right, I can do this for you. This is my professional, skills I have, and let me take lead. But you might come into a charity and go, how the hell do they function? Right? And how are they doing this? I wouldn't do this like this. But you have to remember, when you're in it, exactly. And there's only so much we can do. And also, when you're in it, you don't always see it. Whereas you need someone with a fresh pair of eyes to come in and go, what are you doing? Or we might not even have heard of what you're using, and they'll be going, have you thought of this or tried this? Did you know you can use this? And it's like, sometimes you just need that. So you have to remember that, like corporate, where people have job roles and specific things to do, they know what they're doing, that everything's set out, they all work together, and they know everything's going on. Don't work like that in charity sector. You'll dabble at everything and anything, true. And if you're not used to that, you might struggle. But I think as long as you've got supportive people around you, and if you come with that vision going, this is all I can give, and they understand that, then they can find a way for you to work together, because you'll stay within those boundaries. You know. But I would say, try the charity sector. Don't just dismiss it. But you need to try the roles, and it might mean that you try different things, because you might come with a fixed mindset going, do you know what, I've always done finance, I want to do finance. But then you realise it's just like your boring day job. And then you'll go, I'm not getting anything out of this. True. But then you might find, if you deviated from that and tried something else and go, do you know what, I have a go at fundraising. Or, I might become a wish coordinator with you, and I could do research for you, and you might find that really interesting. So sometimes it's, don't just follow what your skill set is or your day job is. Try something different, or think of what you would like to do that you've never tried, and charity sector might give you that. Try that, see how you get on, and try different things, and you'll find something that works.
That's really interesting, actually. And so what skills then do the third sector need? What do people ideally want to bring to a charity
I'd
such
love
as yours?
somebody, if there is somebody out there, I'll plead. I would love somebody with social media expertise who could come along. I mean, we are a very small charity, so even if you could give us a couple of hours a week, because if you know what you're doing and that is your skill, right?
You can do a lot in 2 hours.
Yes. And it won't take you very long. And you'd be able to put a plan together, you'd be able to guide us, and then we can feed into what you need, job done. So you sort of need, that's what we're looking for at the moment, because ideally we want to build the profile of the charity as well as online, but also it's email marketing to build that as well. But that all takes time and skills and energy. And I'm like, there's only so many things I can dabble into. And you have to remember, trustees, most of them have paid jobs, work full time, and then are doing this on the side. So there's only so much they can give. And a lot of trustees are there just for governance and to see and
just
make
to make
sure
everything's running.
Whereas my trustees, bless their little cotton socks, they're amazing, are quite hands-on. So they do help, but for smaller charities, you will find that trustees. So, you could even try and be a trustee and see if dabble in that. But bear in mind, you can make the role what you want to make it, because you can put in as much as you want. You can either go, no, I'll just come in and do the governance, or do you know what, I could help you with that. Or let me try that, because you could just do one little project at a time and try an element. And I think you'd really enjoy it, because again, there's not a huge amount of commitment in that sense with trustees. I mean, we meet once a month at the moment, but that's more because we're small, and I think they do it more to look after me, to make sure that because I predominantly work on my own, they're like, we just want to give you a sanity check, but also all our wishes have to be signed off by our trustees. So having the monthly meeting and go, right, this has come in, what do you think? Are we saying yes, no, what's going on here? What are your thoughts on these? And then I go off and work on them as well. So, but the slightly bigger charities, trustees meetings are only once a quarter or something. So you can make the roles what you want. But ideally, we are also looking for if we get the funding in potentially, fingers crossed, is another wish coordinator to come and to create memories. So ideally we want to be able to go into the adult sector now. So we've been working on children. So we want to go into the adults world and make wishes for adults happen. So ideally I need someone else who, it's going to have to be someone a bit more dynamic like me, who's just, it's going to have to be...
That's the hard part, because a lot of those are soft skills. And then you are also incredibly generous with your time. So there's a lot of other things that do need to be kind of moulded into that.
Yes, it's not just the financial experience, so it's not just the administration, it's as you say.
And it is also learning to take a no. Because you would be making a lot of phone calls and you get a lot of people going, no, can't help you, can't do this, and not taking it personally. But it's also thinking outside the box. I need someone who would go, do you know what, I know someone who might be able to help me there. Or that's a no, but let's try this. You know, and it's just, it's sort of a bit like Dale Boy. You're sort of you know, like, and it's like, who can I ask? Who will help me? Let me try my luck here. It is a bit like that. And I think, you know, honestly, you'd love it, because for me, bringing a wish together, it is sort of like creating a mini event. So it's sort of like an event organizer.
It is.
It is, and that is very similar to the role we're doing, but bearing in mind, you haven't got the money to buy all this stuff, so you're blagging a lot of it, or you're working with businesses to say, come on, help me. But the joy you get from seeing the end product is just amazing, and that just makes it all worthwhile. And okay, you're not earning tons of money, but you will still be earning money, and it is still a reasonable amount. So if you're looking for something different, come and join me. Give me a call. Let's have a chat.
Brilliant. Well, hopefully people will be interested. Hopefully. Oh, it's been brilliant. Thank you, Pritti. Where can we find out more about you and the charity?
Well, thank you for having me. Honestly, it's always a pleasure to be here with you guys. I always enjoy our conversations. Never know where it will go, what will happen, but that's the fun of it. You can find us website, which is creatingmemories.org.uk. We are on Facebook and Instagram as Creating Memories UK. You can find me on LinkedIn as Pritti Saggi, and then Creating Memories is also on there as well. And we can put contact details up, so you can, because if you go onto the website, it's got my email address, phone number, etc. So it's all there. And if you did want to donate, that's on our website as well. So
brilliant.
Absolutely perfect. We're going to keep Pritti to give us her top tips at the end of the show. We'll head over to Business Boost. These tips for Business Boost come from the Third Sector website and The Guardian, and these are tips for if you want to go into the third sector as a career. The first thing you can do is gain some experience of being in that environment, whether that's through volunteering, whether that's an internship, work shadowing. Our guest said being a trustee as well. Those are options. The only thing about trustee is it is a commitment, so maybe start with volunteering first. Then develop relevant skills. So once you know what's needed, you can work on those areas which you might need to build on, such as technical skills like social media, for example, or finances, or using the packages that they use online. Transferable skills, people skills, soft skills, and maybe developing any online learning as well that you might want to do, whether that's even how to create online courses or attending some yourself to again brush up on your abilities. Network is another thing that you can do, because if you go to events where you meet a lot of charities or even local business events, you can go and speak to people and you can go and understand exactly what happens within that charity. So do your research as well. You might want to look at their online platform. You might also want to target your networking. If you want to work in a specific field, go and look for those charities that are working in that specific area. Understand the sector. That's something that's really come out of today's conversation. There are so many different, bureaucracies that the charity sector has to deal with. Be aware of those. It's all very well wanting to give back, and it's a wonderful thing to do, but there are things that you have to follow. There are structures you do have to follow. So learn about the types of organisation that exist. Research those organisations, and also even stay abreast of what's going on in that sector itself. So whether you read things like the Charity Times or read publications and journals and social media accounts, understand what's happening in that world that you want to go into. The last thing I would suggest is, rather than thinking specifically, I want to go and work in that charity, or I just want to work for a charity, focus that thought process with what problems do I want to solve? If you can answer that question, what problems do I want to solve, you are more likely to find a charity or a third sector position which suits you. What a brilliant discussion.
Oh, amazing.
How uplifting.
Yeah.
It's always so great to have you here.
I really enjoyed it too.
Oh, well, thank you. You bring so much joy to our space, and that's just lovely.
Yeah.
So, we love this bit because this is the bit where we kind of percolate what's been going on and think about what we've learned. And there's so much to take in today. What stood out for you?
Oh, so much. But I think one of the most outstanding points that you made, Pritti, was that if you're going to go and work for a charity, whether you're volunteering or not, be prepared to kind of take anything on. You know, yes, you might have experience in finance, as you said, or, you know, you might be an experienced, I don't know, trustee. But in a charity, because of the very nature of the organisation, there's going to be loads of things that you can turn your hand to, and you might not even have any idea of that. So I suppose just if you're going to go and give your time for charity, just be prepared for anything. That's the most.
That's really lovely. And I take from it a slightly more cynical thing, which is the fact that a lot of organisations don't understand how charities are supposed to function.
Yes.
Because that shocks me. I mean, it doesn't shock me because I've been on the receiving end of this whole thing about, oh, no, we can't give you money for staff.
Because you have money. I know.
And we can give you money for the projects, but not the staff to run them. So what? I'm running this project as well as running all the other stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like going, where do you magically think I have all the hours
to
do this?
Yes.
And one person can do this?
Yes.
And I've even been told you should have more volunteers than paid staff. And I'm like, but we're so small. Where am I? We're only in infant years.
Yeah.
And until we can get this running properly, it's, you can bring in volunteers, but who manages the volunteers? So I'm like, do you not think about that either? And you feel like talking to these people who have got this money and are guarding it so safely and tightly, and you're like, I wish you could come and walk in my shoes for a little bit and just see what it's really like.
Come see what you do.
Do better.
Please, because, and I don't mind you putting in the reporting element. I'm happy to tell you where the money has been spent and what we've achieved. That is not an issue. But for us to be able to grow and even to maintain or stay,
it's the maintenance, isn't it?
Yeah, and even to remain as a charity, because so many charities are closing, is we can't do that if we don't have the money to support what we already have. Because we can't just rely on ad hoc funding or ad hoc donations.
It's got to be
regular. We need regular
consistency, isn't it?
Yes, and we don't have that. And if you don't have that, how do you function? So I'm like, would you run a business like that? No. So then how do you expect us to run like this? And they seem to think we can magically appear volunteers that will just give up all their time to do all these lovely jobs. And I'm like, you live in another world. Not my world.
Exactly, because those volunteers are probably working for you, the corporate.
Exactly.
Anyway, to close our show, let's hand it over to Pritti for your top tips on working in the third sector.
Okay, for me, I'm going to say top tip is a lot of businesses now, rather than giving money to charity, some of them are giving volunteer hours. So you have an opportunity, if you're working for a business, are giving volunteer hours and days. Why don't you come and help a local charity? Hands-on, go help a local one, small charity, and then see if you like anything there. Dabble a little bit. And because you'll be able to do something hands-on, because you might just help for 1 day or 2 days. I think some are given a lot longer. So depending on how many days you've got, you'll get a little taste for it. And then you might be able to go, oh, do you know what? Let me try something else there. Or I've built a connection there. But I think one of my top tips would really have to be that when you volunteer, you've got to work out yourself, what do you want to give? Yes, I know we've been taught in this world, as we live at the moment, here's your job description, this is what we're looking for, and you fit in. But actually, when you volunteer, you can't just fit in, because if it doesn't work for you, you're not going to do it. So rather than looking for just roles, why don't you be open and look at yourself and go, what do I want to give? How do I want to give back? And then when you go speak to a charity, say, look, this is what I can offer. This is what I really want to do and I feel passionate about. Because you've then got a why. And then that charity can find something for you. And like, you know, Jude very quite rightly said, which is be prepared to do anything, because you might come in to do this one thing, but then something else happens here and we need all hands on deck, or we need a bit of expertise or support here. It's like, can anybody help? And okay, it might be outside of your comfort zone, but imagine what you could learn.
Yes.
And what you could take away and gain those skills. But also you might realise that actually, that was out of my comfort zone, but I really enjoyed that.
Yes.
You might want to do it again.
Exactly, you're
You know?
more likely to go back. And
But if you just follow the job description, you won't do anything outside of that.
That's a big thing.
know?
I think that's a good thing to end on there.
Yeah.
Is working for a charity, working in the third sector, it's not about the job description. I just don't think you can adequately describe everything that you do.
You can't. And it has to be something you want to do and give back in. Because if that isn't included in what they're looking for, or the role they've given you, you'll lose interest after a little while.
Absolutely.
And also be prepared, you know, don't be afraid to give your ideas. You know, I love it when people come forward and go, oh, could I try this like this? Or what if you do this? And I was like, oh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
So, you know, come with those ideas. Come with the skills to say, do you know what, I'm very good at problem solving, or I'm very good at organising. I could help you with this.
Yeah.
Brilliant. You know, because we all come with different skills.
Yeah.
You know,
I love
so
it.
if we were all the same, we'd never get very much done. But we need people with different skills. So please do try.
Yes. Absolutely.
Go find a charity, give back. Just try different ones, but give back in any shape or form.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we will have Pritti on the show again. From all of us here in the team, have a healthy week.